mods exist. These are free additions to the game created by talented developers and the modding community that generally make the game perform even better than by default. Faster frame rates, improved world loading times, and swifter terrain generation to name a few. These mods don't always work on all systems, and they can come with some compromises in performance and rendering, but this is a trade-off players can choose if they want it. And not all of these optimizing mods are created equal either. Sodium, phosphor, and lithium are a group of complementing mods that focus on optimization without compromise. They are all open source. Sodium focusing on frame rates and smoothness, phosphor optimizes the lighting engine, and lithium optimizes the general performance of the game's underlying systems like pathfinding and game physics. Elsewhere on the spectrum, one of the most well-known mods, Optifine. It is closed source, the secrets of its changes hidden. This makes it hard to assess just how much of the game's intended behaviors are compromised. It stands aside from other mods in the community. Not using a common API, it can often be difficult to develop alongside as conflicts and compatibility issues arise. Starlight rewrites the lighting engine entirely, delivering blazing performance increases. However, it is self-described as extremely invasive. Preserving parity with vanilla is far from guaranteed. Lastly, we should also mention Spigot and Paper. These two are essential behind-the-scene optimizers for multiplayer servers. If you've ever played on a large server with custom plots or commands, chances are Spigot was powering it. Its changes are optional but aggressive. Many game mechanics can be changed in the name of performance. Mob pathing, XP or clumping, and even redstone can be altered or disabled entirely. A great tool when not aiming to replicate the vanilla experience. The existence of all these mods leads to a common question. Why don't Mojang add insert mod here to Minecraft? That is a great question, and in this video we are going to explore the possible reasons as to why, or why they have not. Let's make it clear, I don't have the answer and only Mojang knows for sure the reasons why, but we can speculate as to why. First of all, the most likely reason is a simple one. It's just not profitable. A game update focused on optimization is unlikely to attract new players or bring back old players as updates so often do. A whole bunch of new items, mobs, and shiny features do, and it's clear the continual content updates are a big part of Minecraft's ongoing success. The creator of Sodium once said this witty joke, "Optimization doesn't sell, source my bank account." It's a joke after all, but there is a point to be made about what sells. Now, some of you might say that players shout from the rooftops about how they want the game optimized to perform better. And this is true, players do say this. I'm a YouTuber, I see plenty of these comments in my update videos. And by the way, news about the next big update, 1.20, will be coming our way soon, so be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can learn about the update as soon as the details are revealed. Now, I was in the middle of making a point. Imagine the next update is the optimized at last update. Mojang pulls out all the tricks to make the game run better. Can't you imagine an angry crowd turning up in comment sections asking, where is all the content? They would have preferred shiny new things to play with, not performance gains. The point being, you can't please everyone. Someone can always be upset and vocalize their opinion about the state of affairs, and for most people, the game runs well enough to just get by. If you consider that we are talking exclusively about Java Edition, having an update focused on optimization alone could take a lot of time, even with more hands involved. Perhaps that is another reason why it has not happened. They need to keep pace with the other platforms the game is being developed on, although some might argue they are in need of optimization too. If Minecraft were to officially add one of these mods, it may not be as straightforward as you think for two reasons. First of all, legality. Most of the mods mentioned beforehand are open source, and Mojang would want to license it exclusively. This means obtaining permissions from a large community of developers who contributed to the code, some of which may be hard to track down. Who wrote what, and was it their own code to begin with? I'm not implying that code has been stolen, but if so, this could have large legal consequences for Mojang. Authenticating contributors and obtaining the permission of all involved can be both messy and time-consuming. And what if someone involved said no? Integrating incomplete code could introduce a new complexity of issues. If not done properly, Mojang could also be accused of theft, which is why they developed the game internally to begin with and don't just use code from the modding scene. Second to this, the integration itself. It may seem as if modded code could just be slipped into the game and all is dandy, but remember, these mods are built on top of Minecraft, not the other way around. When it comes to adding new content, Mojang already knows their code and how to add features to it. Inserting a whole bunch of code developed out of house could undermine that organization. Working with other developers' code can be confusing for multiple reasons. Different coding styles, a lack of documentation, or mapping etiquette can make working with it difficult. And how would this code be maintained over the long term? There are many considerations, it's no simple task, and as an extension of these first 2 points, mods are often built on top of modding APIs like Fabric, Spigot, and Forge, so that's a whole other layer of legality and code to deal with too. So you're probably thinking, well, why don't they do it themselves? We have already touched on the overall priority for the game's success to bring in new and returning players to the game. Having followed these updates closely over the years, there has actually been a whole bunch of optimizations made along the way. The rendering engine has gone through several overhauls, mob behavior and pathfinding gets optimized on an intermittent basis. Technical features like the simulation distance give players more control over the performance of their game, but in general it's at an even pace with the development of features. So as new mechanics, blocks, mobs and entities and items get added, they in turn add demand to the game's engine. Because of this, Minecraft's performance tends to plod along at similar levels. As the game's complexity increases, those optimization gains get eroded by all of the new content added. The new world generation of 1.18 is a great example. The world height increased from 256 to 384 blocks. They not only added greater demands by doing this, it came with many optimizations to preserve an equilibrium so the game would perform similarly to before the massive expansion. I will say though, as a player of 10 years plus, it does feel like some significant gains have been made here and there over the years. So what's the solution here? Just hire more people, right? Throw money at the problem. Well, it's never that simple. If the goal was optimization, then the solution would be quality organization and project management. Integrating a new team of developers to overhaul the game alongside the development of Minecraft across several platforms is no simple task, and if not done correctly, it could leave Java limping behind the others as new code creates conflicts that need resolving. So why not just employ the mod maker themselves? Well, who's to say that person would want to uproot their life and move to Stockholm? Would they fit in with the team and suit the development style? Could they recreate their mods into the current team's way of developing the game? Once you start to think of the complexities and variables involved, it doesn't seem so straightforward. But surely hiring more coders to simply put eyes on the code could be valuable, right? With more perspectives, more potential solutions. However, these would mostly need to be small and simple changes, as the optimizations Java could benefit from most would be big and drastic, requiring significant planning and organization. We've seen with the technical development of chat reporting that Mojang does have weaknesses. The mistakes and missteps taken with its security protocols show room for improvement. Had they worked with outside teams or specialists to test and verify the security of chat reporting, exploits could have been avoided. It's a good case study to suggest improvement is needed in some areas. Could optimization and performance be one of them? I will leave that for you to decide yourself. So with all of that said, I want to leave you with an interesting tidbit. There has actually been a time in Mojang's history where they brought community written code. This was the original multiplayer modding platform Spigot and Paper is built on top of. We are talking about Bucket. Back in 2014, when the EULA drama unraveled, it came to light the project was owned by Mojang, with the intention of allowing it to, quote, maintain its independence. The community was largely unaware of who owned the project. Many developers were outraged, having contributed their time, effort, and expertise to what they thought was an entirely community-driven project. I mention this because it's an example of how unintuitive and messy legal issues around code can be. At the time, Mojang would not allow for the inclusion of Minecraft's code into other projects, yet simultaneously they wanted to support these community projects, and by owning the rights to Bucket, they allowed it to continue operating in a legal grey area, as long as they never took legal action themselves. Practically all the mods and aforementioned optimization mods like Sodium, Paper and Optifine also reside in this legal grey area, which to their credit Mojang never takes action on, allowing them to exist alongside the main game for the benefit of the community. However, some might say it's an exploitative relationship where the modders end up picking up the slack. But that is a conversation for another day. So that's my thoughts on the reasons as to why. If you have any of your own, feel free to join the discussion with a comment down below, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye bye.